Welcome to VSB News Online for Thursday, December 11th. I'm Peter Kitzel. 3 persons were arrested in connection with firearm offenses in the Mount Hill area of North Shore, Pembroke this morning. This followed a house-to-house search along the narrow lanes of Langton Hill by armed police officers armed with warrants. Acting Assistant Commissioner James Howard provided details of the successful operation, but was unable to answer questions about which of the recent shooting incidents might have been connected, or if the second shooter involved in the death of Prince Edness was involved.
We have a few officers up here. As I said earlier, people have been providing certain information to the Bermuda Police Service, and we are analyzing every bit of information we get, and based on the information, the officers have executed search warrants in this particular neighborhood. We've conducted 2 search warrants at 2 residents. We have arrested 3 people for firearm-related offenses at the present time, and that's all I'm prepared to say at this time. We do not have him in custody as yet. I am sure he is aware, and as I said before, him and other persons know that the police are looking for them in relation to certain firearm incidents. They have an opportunity to come forward, make contact with myself or other officers. Again, save your family, save your friends, the agony of officers coming morning, noon, or night, executing warrants at their residence. As I said before, we've received information in relation to a lot of different incidents that have taken place throughout the island, and we're acting on each of them. So at this time, I'm not prepared to say which incident this particular execution of warrants is in relation to. Mr. Wright, the acting commissioner of police, stated before, he's very resolute. He's a good officer. We're in constant contact with him, and he's doing fine. In relation to this particular neighborhood, I recognize that it is an inconvenience, and I will always let the public know and persons in the neighborhood know that we apologize for the inconvenience. I've actually met with many of the neighbors here, and they're happy to see us. They're happy to see that we're doing proactive stuff, and they've been patient with us. And I just ask the rest of Bermuda, if we end up coming to your neighborhood, be patient with us.
Forewarned may be forearmed, but when the neighbors of the defunct Pink Beach Club voiced serious concerns about what new owner Stephen King had in mind for the property, nobody listened, and even Best welcomed the investment. Now, with the production of new plans involving arable land, concern is beginning to reappear. VSB News' Brian Darby has the details.
The previous delight with which the Bermuda Environmental Sustainability Task Force viewed the news that a British millionaire had purchased the derelict Pink Beach cottage colony has evaporated. The environmental organisation is now accusing owner Stephen King of reneging on the promise he made not to develop the agricultural land on the property. The new plan he has submitted calls for the building of residential units, a car and cycle park, a communal swimming pool and a sewage plant on the land designated as agricultural reserve. Best says that if Mr. King had not carved off 5.5 acres of prime real estate for his own personal use from the 13 acres he purchased, there would have been plenty of land available for the new items. The island has a vested interest in preserving arable land, says Best, and no one should be allowed to disregard such fundamental rules for commercial gain. Brian Darby reporting for VSB News.
The Fairmont Hamilton Princess is looking for a few good men and women, 150 of them to be precise. This number they hope to glean from their forthcoming career fair, which takes place on December 29th at the hotel. Human Resources Director Jeanette Matthew tells VSB's Charles Webb of the hotel's anticipation.
We have positions in just about every area of the hotel. We're looking for people to work in sales and marketing. We're looking for people to work in food and beverage. Certainly within human resources, the opportunities are boundless.
And when would these people be expected to take up their positions?
The positions will be available at staggered times. We have some positions that we would like to hire immediately, but the majority of the positions will be for the 2015 season in the spring, so somewhere between March and April.
Now, there's been some concern where people found that they had to go through a computer system and be rejected. Tell me how this works and why is it?
Well, the Fairmont Standard interview, which is an online assessment, is really just one part of our overall recruitment process. We not only look to see whether or not people have the necessary experience, but whether or not they will be a good fit for the roles to which they're applying. And that interview is just one part of that.
So, in the case that we have had of a man who spent a considerable amount of time in Gulf, he was rejected even before he got the interview. Can you explain how that happened?
I cannot explain how that happened simply because there are many things that go into reviewing a person's application.
So what type of talent do you think will come out of your careers fair?
We're hoping to find a wide range of talent. We have opportunities for entry-level positions, for experienced positions, for people who just really want to become a part of what's going to be an exciting 2015 season at Fairmont Hamilton.
And the careers fair will involve just the Fairmont Hamilton, or would it be the other hotel in Southampton?
No, this is specifically to Fairmont Hamilton. We have over 150 positions available, and we really would love to fill them with Bermudian talent. So we're encouraging everyone in our community to come out and to participate.
While in London representing Bermuda at the Overseas Dependencies Council meeting, Finance Minister Bob Richards was astonished to hear that a senior minister in the Cameron government was on his feet in Parliament advocating a plan for Britain to supplant Bermuda as an insurance giant. He was reminded of the moment when asked by VSB News' Brian Darby if he had met with the British media while in London.
We spoke with BBC, we spoke with FT, and we spoke with The Economist.
Are they getting the point?
I hope so, because we just have to keep reiterating our position. Most importantly, we have to reiterate our value proposition to the world. People over there seem to have lost sight of that. They have some notion that Bermuda is a place where fraudsters, tax evaders, and criminals park dirty money, and they can hide it. And I have stated flatly that if you're such a person, we don't want your business. And if perchance somebody like that has business here already, you're not safe on our shores. And I've said that publicly time and time again. It's not our business. Our business here in Bermuda is one where we actually provide a value proposition to the world that is particularly reinsurance. Reduce risks so that investment can be made to finance global growth.
But envy is just as strong in the world market as anywhere else in the world.
Well, it was very ironic that while we were meeting on Wednesday evening, trying to hammer out this agreement at a joint ministerial council, the Chancellor of the Exchequer was giving a speech in Parliament saying that one of the objectives of his ministry was to increase the amount of reinsurance business that they had in the world, and he used Bermuda as a comparison.
Wow.
Yeah. So, things aren't as simple as they seem.
And we'll return with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
Family members were on hand to collect the Sporting Hall of Fame awards in 2 cases at the Fairmont Southampton on Sunday. Namely, grandson Matthew Marino for cricketer Rupert Scotland and MP Jeff Sousa for his soccer-playing father, George Sousa.
Good evening all. As you know, I'm Matthew Moreno, and this is my sister, Ava Joy.
All right.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the selection committee for choosing my grandfather for this prestigious award. And as my grandfather would have said, may St. George put more lumber into Somerset than Globes.
I must say this is one of the proudest moments that I've ever had in my life to speak on behalf of my father, George Edward Souza. I'll be honest with you all, that's the first time that I've seen that footage on camera. I've heard of the passion and the ferocity that my father played the game my entire life. My dad has always been proud. My dad has always been very proud to represent Bermuda in 4 different sports. He came up in an era that it wasn't easy being a Bermudian of Portuguese descent or being a black Bermudian in sports. When he played in that first FA Cup in 1956, his father didn't even watch him. His father was hacking taxi down on Front Street because he thought the game of football was a game for boys. He came up in an era that was difficult because you were not allowed to play on certain fields as a black man or Portuguese of Bermudian descent. And I'm happy that my father was also honored to assist in breaking his barriers. Yeah. And we all need to learn from that and move forward and not keep up the crap we got going on today. Yeah.
From the success of a perfume launch emerges a new non-profit Lily Bermuda Foundation to help young people explore the island's underwater heritage. Sales from the recently launched Mary Celestia fragrance, a scent inspired by the Bermuda shipwreck of the same name, will fund the foundation. Perfumer Isabel Braxton, diver Dr. Philippe Rouget, and young diver Marie-Sophie Braxton explain.
Well, the mission of the foundation is really to protect and promote Bermuda's historical shipwrecks. We had such a wonderful opportunity to be shown this bottle of perfume and to be given the opportunity of exploring what was in it, and then to recreate the fragrance that we feel that we want to give back to Bermuda, to Bermudians, so we can, continue this beautiful story.
So what do you expect in terms of the young divers? What age groups are we looking at?
Well, basically, you need to be fit, and you need to be, you need to be old enough to do an online course. So I think the minimum is 10 years old, but most kids are usually around 12, 13. And then from after your online course, then you do an open water course with any of the dive shop in Bermuda. And it can take as short as a weekend or over 2 weeks, and then you can go and explore the shipwrecks.
This is a fantastic opportunity for young Bermudians to get involved in something that has a deep and long tradition. It's the foundation of Bermuda is sort of built on shipwrecks hitting this island, and so people have been involved in getting on the water and under the water since we began here, since people started sort of living in Bermuda. And so, frankly, anything that can draw our youth into the water and out onto the sea will be of great advantage to them and also to Bermuda. The more people that look at the ocean and that commit to sort of preserving it and conserving what's in there, the better off Bermuda will be in the long term.
Diving really opens up so many cool possibilities because you can go internationally and there's just a whole other world under the water, like the colors, and it's just so amazing when you just submerge yourself under the water and you hear nothing but the ocean, and it's just a great way to just relax.
Ever since he served as a qualified electrical engineer on the advisory architectural panel at planning, Senator Diallo Rabane has wondered why the chief fire officer sat as an ex officio member of the Planning Applications Board instead of the architectural panel, where fire safety issues in submitted plans were routinely discussed. Yesterday, as major new fire regulations were approved by the Senate, he brought that point up.
What I would have liked to have seen is the fire chief or his representative being made an ex officio member of the advisory architectural panel. Now, Madam President, the advisory architectural panel is a panel that advises the Department of Planning and the Development Applications Board. The reason I'm saying having a fire official at that stage is because that is during the planning stage. That is during the development of the project stage. And having input at that stage would be more beneficial than at the DAP DAP1 or the Development Applications Board stage. Because as senators will know, at the Development Applications Board stage, it's being presented by the Department of Planning for approval or refusal. And at that point, it's typically, while there is discussion, very little can be done with the overall design at that point. So what I'm saying is getting the fire safety officer involved early in the process. Also, Madam Acting President, when the project goes before the Development Applications Board, it's already been vetted, it's already been gone through all sorts of processes, and typically those processes, if it involves fire safety, will have gone to a registered engineer, and sometimes to the fire department for review and approval. So what I'm saying is having the fire safety officer involved at that stage has very little to do with the development of the project.
And in sports news, championship boxing and school volleyball and netball all-stars highlight today's report with Earl Baston.
The Bermuda Boxing Federation, formerly known as the Bermuda Amateur Boxing Association, announced the first Bermuda Boxing National Championships. The event will see 6 bouts held on Saturday night, December the 13th, at the Cedar Bridge Academy. On the fight card in the elite heavyweight division, it will pit Tracy Easton against Corey Boyce. In the elite light welterweight division, Andre Lamb will take on Tyler Christopher. In the elite middleweight division, Kea Simmons will take on Chuck Morgan, while in the junior featherweight division, Nazari Roberts will take on Lejai Tucker. Jabril Tolbert and Quadair Emery will take to the ring for the school-age boxing light middleweight and featherweight division. And in the school-age boxing light flyweight, Jaraz Eve will take on Liam McHugh. More than 20 sailors from Bermuda will compete in the upcoming Orange Bowl International Youth Sailing Regatta in Florida. The youngsters from Bermuda will compete out of the Royal Hamilton Amateur Dinghy Club, the Spanish Point Boat Club, and the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club. The regatta, which is hosted at the Coral Reef Yacht Club, will run from December 26th through to the 30th. Featuring in the Bermuda team is Cece Woolman. Woolman just concluded competing at the Central American and Caribbean Games in Veracruz, Mexico. The Red All-Star team won the Bermuda School Sports Federation Senior Girls All-Star Volleyball match in straight sets. The match was close throughout, but the Red team managed 2 rallies to win 26-24 and 27-25. Hamisha Halliger from Cedar Bridge Academy was voted the Blue Team MVP, while Jade Weaver from BHS claimed the MVP status for the victors. The Blue Team won 2 close sets in the boys' match, winning 27-26 and 25-21. Corey Seamus from MSA was named the MVP for the winners, while Jeremiah Andrade from Work Academy was the MVP for the Red Team. The Bermuda School Sports Federation also hosted their annual netball all-star matches inside the Summersfield Academy Gymnasium. The West team claimed a convincing win over the East in the primary school girls match, winning 17-5. Kamaya Butterfield from Somerset Primary won the MVP for the West team, while Chance Goodwin from Northlands won the MVP for the East. The middle school's match was much closer, but had the same outcome with the West winning 16-11. The West MVP was Sakaya Lewis from Salters, while the East MVP was Keaje Flood from Whitney Institute. Kazari Knight from the Cedar Bridge Academy earned the MVP honors after leading the East team to a 18-16 win over the West Team All-Stars. MVP for the West team was Cheyenne McCallan from the Barclay Institute. Ashley Award and her Denison University women's swimming teammates began taking part in the Miami University Invitational Swim Meet. On day 1 of the 3-day event, Yearwood recorded the 10th fastest time in the women's 50-yard freestyle preliminaries, touching the wall in a time of 23:72. Yearwood would take part in the final, where she would clock a time of 23:90, finishing 8th overall. Rachel Barnes and her Bowdoin women's squash teammates fell to a 9-0 defeat to the University of Pennsylvania. Barnes, playing in the number 1 spot, was defeated 3-0. Barnes lost the first set 11-1. She went down in the second set 11-0 before closing out the game, losing 11-2. Following the latest round of the Bermuda Bowl hockey matches at the PCC hockey rink, we now take a look at the current points, goals, and assist leaders. J.M. Tremblay from the Quebec Nordiques is the current points leader with 26 points. Christopher Merritt from the Colorado Rockies is in second with 23 points, and David Gazzard is in third with 22 points from the California Golden Seals. Tremblay also leads the league in the goal-scoring department with 17 goals. Adam Cheevers is in second from the California Golden Seals with 16 goals, and Merritt from the Rockies is in third with 12 goals. Gazzard leads the league in assists with 14. Merritt has 11, while Jeff Engelman from the Toronto Arenas and Matthew Benson from the Atlanta Flames both have 10 assists on the season thus far. David Jones and his Mansfield Town youth teammates continue to create history as they defeated Tremere Rovers on penalties in a thrilling FA Youth Cup third-round tie at the One Call Stadium last evening. With the win, the Mansfield youth team could come up against one of England's elite academies with Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United and Chelsea amongst the potential opponents in the fourth round, with the draw set to take place tomorrow. The International Association of Athletic Federations, IAAF, has given the Bahamas the go-ahead to host the 2017 IAAF World Relay Championships. The inaugural event, which saw Bermuda take part in May of this year, created a buzz and excitement worldwide and still hasn't died down in the Bahamas yet. The 2015 event will also be staged in the Bahamas, and with the championships being held on a biannual basis following next year, the event in 2017 could very well have the Bahamas as its home as well. Of course, all this depends on the Bahamas government cabinet approval. In second spring senior bowling league action at the Warwick Lanes, it saw the Islanders go down 3-1 to the Tigers. The newcomers and the Drifters finished 2-2. The Blend Splitters went down 3-1 to Old and Kickin', while the Blue Angels fell 4-0 to Go and Get It, and the Last Pin defeated the Last Minutes 3-1. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Thanks for watching VSB News Online for Thursday, December 11th. I'm Peter Kitzel.